Hello everybody! How you doing? How's life? How's everything? Here we are for our weekly meeting for this episode number 10. I have to admit that I actually went back and watched all the episodes I had recorded, and oh my god, this week was a roller coaster of emotions of, like firstly kind of judging myself and kind of going, what the fuck was I wearing? Why did I say that? Like, oh my god, look at my Michael Jackson nose. Like, I just wear so self-critical. Like, I always know that I'm my worst enemy. And when I stopped looking at it from my ego and I started looking at it from my heart, and again kind of being compassionate with those versions of me saying it, I saw something very beautiful that I don't know if you noticed, but there has been such a transformation in me in these 10 episodes. Like how I talk, how I'm tense, how my body is reacting, because obviously I know myself a lot now after everything that I've done, and I can go and look at like the way that I talk, how my eyes go, how this, how there, how whatever. And exactly this showed me, because I was so judgmental with my teeth. Straight away I was like, oh my god, my mouth looks disgusting. Like, look at my teeth, like my jaws like crooked. Like I started being so physical and so materialistical that it shook me again. And it kind of, I think it's beautiful because it allowed me to understand that the healing journey is not pretty, and it doesn't look pretty. And I'm not doing this to look pretty or to do whatever. In that moment, I wasn't even brushing my hair or even putting normal makeup on. I was just, trying to say things from my heart. And that brought a smile to my face. I was like, I'm so proud of that girl that is breaking in the middle of the camera, but it has allowed me to open up from my heart. Like, I'm not sitting here planning on what I'm gonna say. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm not trying to portray my life as something different. I just thought we need real in this era and how everyone is living, that it's so materialistic, physically, whatever. What are they gonna say? What are they gonna? Oh my god, I went down deep the hole. Started thinking they're going to do memes about me. They're going to start laughing like, oh my god, my boobs are everywhere. Like, it's just, it is what it is. And again, and all what I'm going to be talking about in this episode is going to be kind of me realizing and kind of making a stop and going, okay, that's not what I want to think. That's not what I want to do. Be compassionate, be loving with yourself. Stop looking at all the shit. Look at the positive, because obviously having this complex trauma thing, we always think the worst in anything. So everyone's gonna hate me. All worst case scenarios are like the scenarios that your brain kind of points out. It doesn't bring you a fucking good scenario that could happen. It just takes you to the bad, shitty, crappy one. So, I was allowed to kind of sit with it again and look at it and stop myself and go, no, Patricia. I like to call my ultra shitty ego Patricia. And I go, no, mate. I am sorry, but what I'm doing is beautiful. I don't care if my teeth look crooked. I don't care if I laugh and my fucking nose looks like Michael Jackson. I don't care that my makeup looks crappy and that I had shit in my eye. I don't care. I am so proud. And I had to do that. And I want to start with this because we're so scared to doing something sometimes and to start it, and you can have the best intention, but like your ego just gets in the way, and it's just like, fuck it. Seriously, fuck it. If you want to do something, do it. Being scared or not being scared. If you look good, if you look bad, or if it is, just learn and keep going and keep going. And that's kind of the main message that I want to leave here, because I think that this year and a half that I'm going to be talking about before I came to Australia, it really showed me that, like how I was talking to myself, how I was reacting to the situations that were happening around me, how I was taking life, and I had to stop and put another perspective to it. And this week has shown me exactly that, because again, this process of me opening up myself like I have and telling you all my shit and all my deepest wounds when I've never spoken about it, and not having a clear why I'm doing it. Because now it really affected me. It really sends me into this roller coaster of emotions. And that's what I want to show. And I hate it every time, and I think I've said this in the past, when you look at coaches and you look at all these people, they're like, I was this and I healed and I'm fucking beautiful and perfect now. And I'm like, when does perfect come? When am I going to be able to be a normal person? When am I going to be able to really live that happy, fulfilling life that they taught us that was it? Disney is like, I don't know how you said it in English. Comieron perdices y fueron felices. It's like they ate some shit and they were happily ever after. And it's bullshit. I was saying to a therapist, I went to this Temazcal a few weeks back, and I was sitting down with one of the girls, and I kind of looked at her and I said, when is this going to stop? Like, when am I going to not go into that hole again? Because I could be really good, and then one day something happens, a butterfly flies freaking next to me, or something happens, a song, a smell, something, and it triggers the fuck out of me, and I go to a bloody hole in the ground. I have to get myself up again, and it doesn't take me as long, and now I realize, and again, I'm compassionate with that. I'm compassionate with what I'm feeling. I'm understanding it. So, this is another example. Okay, here we go. So when we're living through a situation, we see it as this. So if I cover my eye and you tell me, what can you see? I will say, I don't know, something black. I have no idea, I just see black. If you put it here, you go, oh shit, it's like a little clock, If you put it here, you go, oh, shit, it's saying this and that. I don't know if the clock was a good fucking thingy, but you know what I mean. Like, if you've got something in your face, if you're in a situation and you can't fucking see it, sometimes it just takes for you to pull it out and go, oh, crappity crap, that's what I'm going through. This is what I'm living. And when it happened with me this week of thinking, what the fuck? Like, I hadn't even watched the videos. Like, I repeat myself. I was being so judgmental. Like, Patricia came in full throttle, mate. And I kind of sat down, and it took me a day. Like, that day, I really thought the worst of everything. I was like, oh my God. Like, I'm the laughing stock of everyone. I'm sure they're all sitting down. Because you become a little bit of a narcissist in that sense of saying, everyone is talking about me. Like, I'm the laughing stock of everyone. Like, maybe they're even like getting reunited and eating popcorn and laughing at me. Your brain goes there. Again, I said I was going to be raw and I was going to say it how it is. So here it is. So anyways, we left off. I'm going to be talking about the last year and a half before I left Colombia. There are a few things happened here and there, but already I was in another level of understanding what I was bringing into my life and kind of seeing things and testing out whatever shit here and there. So, another of the things that kind of happened was my grandma passed away. So, as I said, I did a little bit of healing with her before it, but not that much. I wasn't really deep in there. I didn't really understand a lot of stuff. I had forgotten her. Like, I told her, I forgive you for everything. Like, don't worry about it. Like, I want you to live in peace. Like, I'm strong as speech. Like, I was just wanting her soul to rest in peace and not go to hell, because I still believed in a few things there, and my mom left. She was in a work trip, and that weekend where she was kind of dying, I was taking care of her, like, kind of, like I was just going to visit her and whatever, and I remember the last day that I saw her in her last breaths, because really she died the next day, she looks at me and she goes, I don't know, we were talking about something, and I was trying to like tell her, like, go in peace and do all this stuff, like, I'm gonna make you proud. And she looked at me and she goes, you're just exactly like your dad. I went, I'm gonna kill this bitch. Are you fucking serious? Like, you're dying. I'm telling you that what? you're exactly like your dad. Those words were like to my heart, you know, because it was a confirmation of everything I kind of knew, that I was, you know, like she loved me but she didn't, and always I had that love distortion of loving hate. Like I need someone to love me and hate me, or I need to love and hate, because that's the combination of love. That's what love is. So, you know, in that moment, it was really shocking for me in that I was going to the Keilah, and, you know, I made the compromise of doing the 40 Shabbats. So it was 40 Fridays that I was going to be deciding to take that day as a rest day, to think about what my life was, to say thank you for the life that I had, to have dinner with my parents, to celebrate life, and you know, and have that connection with God, which in that moment, you know, I didn't see it as exterior, because I've never seen God as something exterior, but in that moment, I still wasn't as aware as I am right now that he's in here, not outside. So anyways, you know, I'm doing this whole compromise thing. Things started getting a little bit better for me. I started working with this guy for the apps, the Jewish guy that took me there. So we really got into doing apps. So he was like, okay, so we're going to do this Torah, the Torah app. And that's going to be for you to kind of learn how to do apps. And then we're going to do your app. The app idea that I had since COVID. So, you know, we were kind of reforming it because it was too big and this and that. And so we started working on a model that we wanted to make that it was going to be replicable. So we could do one base of the app of how it's going to work, like this and that, like, you know, all this stuff that goes behind it. That we could just take the front stuff of it and then replicate it into other applications. So we started working in like 2 applications at the same time, which, you know, it gave me so much creativity and so much stuff, and it showed me how much crap I could do, and, you know, how the process, and like I fell in love with that. I was so fucking happy. So, you know, we're like talking about creating this company. We did a web page, we did all this stuff, and he kept telling me, we're going to create this, because obviously this is like an idea that I'm bringing to the table as a business and the replicable thing. You know, I'll give you 40% and I'll stay with 60%. And I thought, you know, yes, like that's okay. Like, thank you very much for wanting to give me 40. And man, yeah, I don't deserve it. And I think I acted so much like that he kind of believed it. So anyways, it was 4 years already when I'm talking about this right now, like, because it was COVID, it was 2024. So I'm, you know, like the year before it. So it's already been 3 years that we're working through this, and we're doing the app and like the whole idea, and, you know, like kind of learning and doing, and I would help him even prepare certain things for his for his meetings, because he worked as an independent. So it showed me a lot, because I didn't know how to program. Like, I don't know how to program. Yeah, I tested out the waters and stuff like that. It's fucking crazy. But for me, it was more the design part of it. But not even designing, it was like the creativity of what I wanted to look like look the app, like how I wanted it to look. And then I would pass it to a designer for him to kind of finish and connect everything, and like with Figma stuff to make like a prototype. So anyways, you know, I'm going through this whole leaving the medication, this toxic relationship that I loved and hated, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. For me, leaving the medication, that was a whole fucking completely different experience as a volcano, because I couldn't really understand what I was going through, because a lot of stuff was repercussions of what I had brought from before. So it was really confusing. But at the same time, I think that the whole compromising myself for the 40 Shabbats and knowing that I really wanted to heal myself, and choosing between those 2 lives of, because it was so funny and curious, because I kept seeing that all the invitations I had was for Fridays. The best parties, Fridays. The time that my ex-boyfriend wanted to go cookie, Fridays. And I would think anything could happen. I am not gonna not do Shabbat. I am not. And sometimes I would go to bed crying, thinking, I want to put this thing up. Crying, thinking like, you know, like, why is it so hard? Like, if I'm doing something wrong, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I really, really, really want something exterior to say, oh, you're doing the work. Yay, here you go, my baby. Because I was still thinking there was something outside that was going to give it to me. So anyway, so I'm going through this stuff with my grandma, with the ex-boyfriend, with the medication, with going and having that much responsibility of going 3 times a week to the other side of the city to really study what the words were saying there. And then it was very curious because I always wanted a savior, yeah? So obviously I'm learning all this new stuff, and I'm kind of seeing the people that are sitting around me, and I'm listening to them talking, and I'm listening to the rabbi kind of do his thing and whatever. And then I started seeing crappy shit. I'm not going to talk, well, yeah. You know, crappy stuff like not being coherent with what they were saying, lying, manipulating. And I was like, okay, I'm started realizing that in the spiritual world, there's a lot of ego and there's a lot of crap. This can't be it. This for me, it's not it. It got to a point where we had to stop going to that place and go and take a new rabbi that we met, that he was the one who gave me my Jewish name, which I'll tell you in a minute what it is. And we started doing it in my beauty salon. So we started gathering people to come and do the studies, but to our place. And it was a beautiful fucking change. And they still do it. It stayed in there, even though that I'm here now. And, you know, it's been a very beautiful process to see my mom and to see my stepdad kind of catching on to all those beautiful things. Even if whatever they say, or again, it doesn't matter what you believe in. It doesn't matter whatever thing, as long as you have faith in it and you have the certainty, because God's inside of you. He's not anywhere. He's not in a religion. He's in everyone. Once you realize that, you can see yourself with love and compassion, and you can see everyone else, because if God's in me, it's in everyone. Simple as that. Simple as complicated as that. So anyways, you know, so I started kind of pulling a little bit out of the Judaism kind of thing. I was still doing Shabbat. I didn't eat pork or seafood for like a year and a half because I really wanted to as well control my body, because I loved ham. Oh my God, I loved ham. I loved seafood. I was like, what the fuck am I going to eat? Like chicken and fish, like that's it. I was like, oh my God. But I wanted to keep training my body that I could give it whatever I wanted, not whatever I thought I needed. So when I felt my body thinking, I want that, I'll be like, no, well, you're not having it until you decide that you want it from a different place. And now I can eat ham. I don't like ham that much. Like pork is not really my cup of tea because I can feel my body and I don't like it that much. But you know, I eat seafood. I don't eat it all the time, but I allow myself, depending on how. It's like if I get that, no, you're not having it. We're having it when we come from a place of love, of having it because I want to. That's it, but like from a beautiful place. But anyways, so you know, I meet this new rabbi, and I started meeting a lot of different rabbis and like talking to them, and I started like really studying the Kabbalah. And I really love the Kabbalah because it shows you both, and I always needed something that shows me, proves me. Like, you know, and even though when I was in the mountain, even though when I was with this lady, even though that I was watching all this stuff and I could see things in my life, how they would change from a realm that we couldn't really understand it, I was still needing factual truth and testing out myself to really believe in certain things. So, you know, I'm kind of going through the process again, because obviously in Judaism they were saying like, you know, like you can't have like pork stuff in your body and all this stuff. And for some reason, I thought that my teeth, the bone that they put, it was from, they have some pork thing in there. So I was like freaking out because, you know, I thought, fuck, like if I have to change it and take it out. Because again, I went into everything I believed full on. Like I wanted to believe, I wanted to test it out, and whatever worked, I just take it out and then keep on my beautiful route. So, you know, I went to the dentist and kind of get all this stuff done, and that's what they told me, all the shit they had to do to fix my teeth. And I was like, fuck that, you know, taking pieces off my brain and like my scalp and my hip and wait, what? You have to take what and put what and where and I. So, you know, I kind of let go of that. They told me no, that it was like from I don't know what and like here and there. But then everything just started working out beautifully when I understood I didn't really need to do all that bullshit, and I will just get it fixed whenever the fuck I'm ready to get it fixed. And if I am, and if not, I'll just die with my teeth like that. But then, you know, I was already a little bit in it. I could see I had a better job. I got this job training people for sales for a solar panel company. So I was teaching people in Pakistan, in Indonesia, and all these bloody places how to sell. So I'll listen to the calls and kind of give feedback and stuff. I'm really good for that. Like I've grabbed people who don't know how to sell shit, and I'll give you 3-4 tools, like that little sentence that they gave me, and it really had, it helped me to kind of work through that. And I thought it was a really good job. Like I was really proud. I was like, yeah, I have a good job and whatever. I started going through this whole thing, and then, they did like the baptism, and we went to this river, and that day I felt so bad because everyone was looking at me like if I was gonna light on fire. I swear, I was like the last one they took, and everyone was like looking and recording and stuff, and I felt so, like those were the type of things that happened there that was like, this is not my place. Like I really don't want to be here, and like I needed it because I think there is steps that you need to take, but you just need to know when to get the fuck out of there because you've already learned what you were supposed to learn. So anyways, they give me this beautiful name, which is Shlomit, which means peace. Now wait, what? wait. I'm peace. I'm fucking distraction. Like I'm everything but peace. Like that's always what I wanted. But that wasn't me. You can even see it when I talk. I'm really hyperactive. I'm all over the place. I was. I'm still going through the talking thing, but I'll explain it in a minute why that I understood, and that's why I'm being compassionate with that too. But I talk a lot. So when you tell me peace, I always imagine, like the person sitting down in total calm and minye, and I was like, it was really hard for me to meditate. It was so fucking hard because my brain is I can't stay still. Now I can, but in that moment I couldn't. And it made no sense that my name was Peace. And then it really clicked in my head, and I thought, shit, we're in a dual world. It is true. I could be peace, but I've chosen the other side, and I have to work every day, every second, to maintain myself in that peace and not in distraction mode how I was, because I was in my opposite. That was a beautiful discovery of me understanding that I had options of how I took things, that words had heaviness in them and meant something, that however I was thinking was influencing my reality. I started realizing so many beautiful things, that everything that started happening to me, I would analyze it. And maybe, I'm a bit of an extremist, so I went to over analyzing myself and analyzing everything that was happening. And I think in a way that was good for me. But my biggest lesson in this whole process was to let go. And you would think, how the fuck am I going to be able to let go of controlling everything around me? Because that's how I felt safe. If I knew what was going to happen, if I had plan A, B, C, and D, I always was protected because I knew what was going to happen. So if something bad happened, I knew that was going to happen. And that gave me a little bit of comfort somehow. So, when I started learning that for me to really be in peace and to really transform into that beautiful name, I needed to let go. Because if I was in control, I was never going to have peace. I was always going to be anxious because I didn't know what was going to happen. If I do this, if I do that, if I come here, then I do that. It's like, what the fuck? Like, just let go. What happens. So, I'm going through all this process, and we start doing this stuff at home, and I start taking care of my Shabbats, and I started kind of taking them as I would go and walk by myself. I start thinking, I start being grateful. I start gratitude for me became my biggest tool. That's why my first book, it's about gratitude, and thank you became my medicine, because really gratitude was the only thing that I can tell you right now. And it still works right now. And it's still my most powerful tool. It's being in a vibration of gratitude. The first thing, and that's one of the things that I love about Judaism, that the rituals have so much magic in them. So, you know, they would say, the first thing you do when you wake up, it's say thank you. First thing, obviously, first things I did every time that I used to wake up in my life was, why am I alive? I don't want to be alive. Oh, fuck, I have to go through this day again. Oh shit, this is going to happen. Those were my first intrusive thoughts, even before I got out of bed. Changing. And obviously it took me a while, because the first thing I would come and, oh, okay, wait, hold up. I have to say thank you. Thank you, because a lot of people didn't wake up. A lot of people didn't wake up. That whole thing with gratitude exploded my whole brain. I think gratitude was the last thing I needed to kill my old version, because I wasn't a grateful person. I was a person that thought everything needed to be given to me. In a way, after everything I've told you guys, of everything that I've lived through, I was living through beautiful things as well. It wasn't all bad. When I was in a really bad relationship, I was enjoying most of the things a lot of people would die for. I was traveling the world. I was in the best cars, in the best houses, in the best thing. I was always, you know, I had blessings. When I was hungry in Barcelona, the next day I would be in a catamaran with other people and trying to eat ham by myself, eating because I was hungry. But I was, you know, there was a lot of beautiful things that I know now that if I grabbed myself into blessings, I'm going to think like, fuck, like I should be grateful now because of all these things, because I was in victim mode. I couldn't see them at all. So, you know, I started doing all this work and I started realizing that my thoughts, not even what I said, what I would think, had a massive influence. That whole thing of just waking up and saying thank you before I got out of bed, it would make me be in a different frequency. So I started paying a lot of attention to what I was listening, to what I was seeing, to where I was, who I was with, where I was putting my energy. And everything started shifting in little tiny steps, like putting a song on and noticing how my body reacted. Example, I would put, because I love music, so I've got a variety. So I've always played with my emotions with music. I wasn't aware of it. So for example, if I want to be in a peaceful, creative mode, I love classical music. It is my thing. It stimulates my brain and I can feel my brain working and like, cha. If I want to go party mode, I put Bad Bunny. Straight away, my body moves different, So I started doing micro steps and analyzing how my body felt. Where did I feel heaviness? Where did I feel light? How did I change? How did I move? Because I wanted to understand my life. I was really committed in changing my reality. I was like, I don't even know how to say it, because there is just something in you. When you say, I'm trying, you don't want to, in a way. You're trying. But when I say, I will do it, it will be, I will fucking do it. So anyways, you know, I started feeling as well, like, you know, different when I was in parties and I was in places. So I started kind of, you know, analyzing and stuff. And I was like, I'm not feeling that comfortable. Like, I'm not feeling that comfortable with this person. I'm not feeling that comfortable in these spaces. I was, you know, kind of being a little bit more aware of what alcohol did or what weed did, like how I acted, how I responded. Because for me, alcohol was a courage drink. I would have one beer, a little bit of beer to taste my fucking tongue, and I would talk different. I would walk different. I would express myself different. I would think different. Everything was different. So, you know, after that whole analysis analyzing myself, you know, all these micro little things were happening around me. So, you know, I'm kind of going through a process that my body was kind of reacting a little bit better. I had a bit of a job. I had a good job. I could sleep a little bit better. I could feel my body, because I was already kind of a year and a half that I stopped taking the medication. I could feel my body kind of, you know, getting used to certain changes and knowing that I could bring that nervous system down and I can control my emotions. And I started reading a lot about emotional intelligence and like the, how do you say this book in Spanish? Los Cuatro Acuerdos. Fuck, it's a really good book. I'll try to put it here. And the languages of love, because I didn't know that there is languages. And what do you mean people give love like this? And like, what type of love do I want? What type of love do I give? Like, I was trying to understand a lot about the emotional part as well, because it wasn't only, because I broke it down. I started looking into everything, like I've told you guys for a few episodes, everything and anything that could give me the tools and make me understand that everything I had learned, it wasn't for me. I needed to unlearn everything. And I was like, oh my God. So, I'm going through the process and I'm super happy. And I'm like, okay, finally. Because I kept thinking when I have money, everything will be worth it. Finally, that's where I want to be when I have money. So anyways, I started, like, I was working with this guy with this whole apps, and I was like, I'm gonna be doing apps, and when these apps are out, and like blah blah blah, and all this bullshit and here and there, and when I started doing all this stuff and I started feeling my body and I started feeling all this, I started feeling weird with him. And I kind of said to him, like, dude, like, it's been 3 years, can we sign the contract for the business and like all this stuff that we're doing? Oh, you know what, like, let's just wait. And now I want to introduce you like to these other 2 people that are going to help me, but they were like my workers, so I'm just going to do this. And he started kind of putting me outside when he goes, it's my idea, yeah? And I was helping him to do an app, so he would help me with mine. When I don't know where he goes, okay, so it's going to be like 5 of us, so it's just going to be 20% each. And I'm like, what do you mean 20% each? Like, what? When was I taken out of this? And I started crying. I'm doing all the work and I'm doing all this stuff. Like, what the fuck is going on? And like, I can't leave this guy and I can't do this. And like, why are people taking advantage of me? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's been 4 years. And I remember, and this is where my mom and my stepdad, because of all the things with the Judaism, we became really close. Like, we were just like one. So I would come home and I vent with them and I'll tell them my life, and I was telling them like my process, like they knew everything. I was telling them like my process and all this stuff, and I'm going crazy and I'm going, what the fuck is going on? Like, seriously, why do I keep attracting people that take advantage of me? Why do I keep taking people that lie to me and make me fucking feel like if I'm shit? Like, now I'm not worth it. Now they've taken the company and I went, no fucking way. Well, at the beginning I said yes. They're going to do their job, so why not? I'll just tell them what to do and they can take the whole company. When I said to him, okay, let's do it like that, that's okay. So let's sign, we said the 60-40 of the whole company. And then this app per se will just give 20% each, and then we manage. And I thought it was a good strategic idea, like we were separating things. And that's when everything crumbled, when I actually put myself first and I said, you know what, I'm not doing anything else until I have security that this is where I'm heading. Like, because I felt embarrassed of asking him, because, it was worth it. Like, what? Can you please put me into there? Fuck that! Like, we had meetings, so I was sat quiet, and I would see that he didn't even know what he was fucking talking about. Like, I was the one running the fucking show, because I know that programming is important and coding and this shit is important, but even nowadays, look what we can do now with coding and whatever. What I was doing was so valuable, but I didn't recognize it in myself. So how the fuck was I expecting somebody else to do it? Obviously, I took someone, again, another beautiful narcissist that thought everything was about him, and he took advantage of me. So, the moment I said, you know what? Even if I've worked for 4 years, this taught me how to do it. This taught me I can do it. I didn't study, I didn't go to university, I didn't do all this shit, but I can do an app now if I want to. I thought, okay, well, those 4 years was like my university. Everyone has to study, everyone has to do something. So, there it was. And I let go of it. I let go of it. I'm doing my work. I'm not going out. I'm going to the river, I'm going walking, I'm taking care of me. I'm still in this relationship because obviously I was taking care of him with his back and all this bullshit. And, I was being more compassionate towards him. Like, I knew that I loved him, but I knew that he wasn't my part. Like, I don't even know how to explain it because it's going to sound weird, but, I wanted to help him somehow, because you get into a spiritual ego. You think, I did it, I can help somebody else, but you want to get yourself intruded into somebody else's healing journey, and that's when I got my little slap in the face again. So anyways, I'm letting go of all that stuff, and and I'm at home, and I'm going to the movies with my mom, and I'm changing all this stuff of going out, but like spending time with my family, to do all this type of stuff, to be really good, to not eat everything, to have left medications, to not doing drugs, to not drinking, to not sleeping around, to not doing all this fucking shit. And the only thing that I was attached to in that moment that I told you, my little cat, that she came and she opened my heart and all this crap, I went to the movies with my mom. I came home and she was nowhere. Oh my God, I felt again like when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, and they took that friend or they took that animal, and I thought, I want to love anything else in my life. I felt the same way. I was like, what the fuck am I attached to? Like, I'm crumbling like I never had before, because my cat was gone. And all the videos, they couldn't show me when she left, and like there was no way she could have gone out. I even think that somebody took her, but anyways, I don't want to get there. Whatever. It was the best thing that could have happened. A week and she's not coming back, and I'm like suffering, and I was so bad, and I was putting food everywhere, and I was looking for her like if I was the Llorona. The Llorona is like a thing that she loses her kids and she just goes crying. So I was like, Lola. I was like my grandma screaming for me, like Rosalinda. I was like, Lola. And putting food next to it, and like her poop all around my house so she could come back, and it was just. So to a point that I said that first week, I kind of looked at my mom and I looked at my stepdad and I said, you know what, like, I'm not going to say I'm going to leave because I'm over it and I want to escape. I think that I'm attached to something that I have to let go. Like, if I really have to let go and let God surprise me and put myself in whatever thing it is that I have to do, like, I'm really letting go. Like, this time I said, I'm letting go, because I always said I would let go, and it's like throw yourself back, and I'm like, okay, I did let go. But I wasn't really. I was trying to control my letting go. I didn't know that. I thought I'm letting go, but no, I was trying to control the way that I was letting go. And in that moment, and you would say, everything you've lived for, a cat disappearing, it was my moment of saying, I'm letting go of everything. Like, I'm really, what am I attached to? Like, for me, it was so symbolical, but at the same time, it was so simple that I was like, I just broke down. Because I kept saying, like, I've done the work. Like, I'm doing all this stuff. Like, when the fuck is it going to get better? And I just keep getting all this bullshit. I'm like, oh my God, no. Like, why? My cat left. And, I made the decision. I said, you know what? I don't know how I'm going to go, because obviously I had a job already, so I could plan on leaving and have, like, and it was a good job. Like, I was going to get paid well because I was working for an American company living in Colombia, so I thought I can do it now if I want to. And I just said, I'm leaving. I want to go to Sydney. I can work with this company. I know I want to do apps, so I can probably start working something there, or study something there, or work for a tech company and work myself up. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't give a shit. I just know that I want to go. So, I had a chat with them, because obviously every time that I told them that I wanted to go back to Australia, before, when I was going through the whole shit, they always were like, why the fuck are you going to go? Like, you're not in the right state to go. But I think they saw that transformation of mine, because my mom and my stepdad were there. They were seeing me shaking. They were seeing me going through that. They were lifting my body up from the depression. They saw me stopping medications. They saw me stopping drugs. They were looking at me with the eyes that I told you my ex-boyfriend used to look at me. That helped me a lot, because they would look at me with the eyes that I never seen myself. And I started getting that confidence up, and I was like, oh my God. So, I called a friend that I knew from when I was married, and I told him, like, I'm going to go to Australia, because he lived in Sydney. I'm going to go to Australia, like, for like the first week, because here you pay everything by week. So if I came to Australia, I would have to have at least $2,000 to be able to pay for a hotel or stay whatever in the first week. So I thought, you know, if I call someone that I knew, maybe if he has a room already, or if he knows someone, or like whatever thing, like, you know, I can get things at least a little bit organized for me to not be freaking out as much as I was going to because of everything that had happened. I was going to start again from zero, and I was like, you know, I haven't worked for an like official company for a long time. I only appear that I've worked these last 5 years with like a few companies, one the UK one that I told you about, and now with this one, but like I didn't stay with them for more than 3 months, either of them. So I couldn't really even put them in my CV. I was like, what the fuck? And I can't put that I worked 4 years with this fucking idiot because I don't even know how to put it, and I didn't really work for a company. I worked for an idea. So, you know, my cat, she actually appeared after I already had made the decision. After I spoken to my friend and I said to him, like, you know, I'm making the decision to go back to Australia, if you know anyone, whatever. So we started kind of talking, and he said, you know, I help you with anything, like, don't worry about it. And that gave me a little bit of confidence, because I said, when I decided I wanted to come to Australia, one of the things that I've realized is when things are meant to happen, good, bad, whatever, they always flow. When they're not supposed to happen, you want to be stubborn and this is what I want to get. There's always fucking obstacles and shits that happen and things that happen, and you're like, you know, and before I was like, oh, a challenge, accepted. I kept going to the fucking wrong things that I needed to do. But with this one was so fucking obvious, and everything started unfolding in such a beautiful way that I thought I'm making the right decision. So in the moments that, you know, my cat disappeared and all this stuff, obviously I was having a massive fight with this guy, because obviously me not reacting how I was before, me putting myself first, me taking more care of having Shabbat by myself while he was partying and not giving a shit that he was partying, and people telling me that he was there, and I would be just like, you know, like... So I looked at him and I said, look, I'm leaving. Thank you for everything. I'm really appreciative of a lot of things. Like, even though he tried all this stuff and whatever here and there, I'm very grateful for what he showed me. In me, in him, in my whole thing, in my sense, in my reality, and what was happening in everything. So, you know, like, so I take the decision to come. But before that, and so you know how fucking tough of a decision this was, there was one time that, you know, I was going to do parasailing. You know, when you jump off a mountain and you're like with somebody else. I hope you know what I'm talking about. You know, I was with a friend of his, and he was like, oh, just go and do it. And then, you know, we'll just meet you like in another house, like a finca, like over there, and we just stay there for the weekend and whatever. And it's like, okay, let's do it. Fuck yes, I want to do parasailing, whatever. I remember jumping, I'm like freaking the fuck out. I'm like, come on, Rosa, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. In that moment, specifically, because I was like a year before I actually left. I have to go back a little bit, sorry. So, you know, I said to him, like, I've always been afraid of flying. Like, I love traveling, but I'm afraid of flying. Anyways, I'm afraid of flying. But and I'm afraid of flights, but I loved adventure and loved doing fucking shit like that anyways. So, you know, we were going up there, and, you know, the fucking thing is sounding like beep, 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 and I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna die. In that moment, obviously, because it was the year before, I was still in that mode of I want to kill myself. Like, that was the last time I ever thought I wanted to kill myself. Because I was up there, mate, and I was like this. I couldn't let go of the strings. I couldn't open my eyes. He kept passing me this camera thing. I don't even have a camera video because I couldn't fucking grab it. Like, I couldn't let go of my hand to grab it and record me. So, you know, he kind of does something. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I kind of got distracted. I'm like, get me the fuck down now. Now I started having a really bad panic attack up there. So, you know, when we land, straight away, start hitting myself like this, like boom, and like banging myself in the chest, going, didn't you want to fucking die? Didn't you want to die? You don't really want to die. You were just there. You could have died, and instead of enjoying that you were gonna die, you were freaking the fuck out. So you don't want to die. Stop lying. You don't want to die. You want to live a beautiful, fulfilling life. That's your thing. But that memory stayed in my brain. So every time I got in a plane weird things would happen. But like weird as I had like 4 or 5 different flights from that moment to the moment that I was going to go to Australia. But like one of my boobs swelled up like a balloon because of the stress that I was going through in the plane. So I couldn't open my eyes in the plane. I would have to grab myself in the chairs and I would cry. Like I would have my eyes closed, but like tears were coming out. And I couldn't breathe and I couldn't hear. So I had to put like music on because I couldn't hear the motor and stuff. Like there's a funny story there, but I'm just not going to go into it. But like, you know, I couldn't hear shit. So you had to put like earplugs, and I had to have something in my brain kind of repeating and crying, and I would have really bad panic attacks. Like again, my boobs swelled up, or I couldn't go to the bathroom for 7 days, or you know, like weird shit would happen because I would feel that I was again in that parachute thingy, that parasailing thing, and I couldn't feel the ground of the plane. So I was freaking the fuck out. Every time I had to grab a plane, for me it was like, I'm gonna die. Like I hope, and the worst thing was that the plane never moved. I've never had a turbulence. I've been very lucky in that sense, you know. So, you know, I'm grabbing, if like anything moved, oh my God, like I'm gonna die. So obviously when I decided I wanted to come to Australia, I kept thinking, oh my God, these flights were an hour, 2-hour flights. Colombia to Australia, and more because I went for Spain, 30 hours in a plane. How the fuck am I gonna do that? I swear to you, I just thought, and I kept rephrasing it to a moment, and this video that I saw, that is, I think it's from Finding Nemo. You know, when he's in the whale's tongue and he's holding on, going, oh my God, I'm gonna die, like what the fuck? And he lets go and he goes up to shoot and then he saves himself. That's how I felt. I felt I was in the border of like a huge building and I was looking down. Obviously I have afraid of lights and heights and shit. So obviously for me, that moment was like, I felt my whole body, like if it was burning. Oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I seriously, in those moments, I realized the power of letting go. And I kept saying to my Mom, I'm letting God drive this boat. I'm telling him, please, I don't want my human self, my ego self to make the decisions right now. I'm already aware that I don't know shit. I am aware now that your plans are way bigger than mine and that all this shit is way bigger than me and that all that what I can see is way fucking bigger and all this stuff that I'm understanding and all this, I'm just letting go. And I finally saw the beautiful repercussions of letting go and those little tiny steps of knowing that everything was going to work out the best it could and that I had the opportunity of choosing how long I was going to stay in it. So anyways, I'll finish now because I want to finish it now coming to Australia, which has been another whole episode to talk about. But in this one specifically, you know, everything started working in such beautiful ways. And obviously I kept thinking, you know, the first time I left my mom, I didn't see her for 4 years. The second time I left her, I didn't see her for 3 years. And like, I kept looking at her getting older and our relationship was so good. I've never had a relationship like that with them ever. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm deciding to live in a moment that I would have never decided before because, you know, like when am I going to see her and what is all this and I'm going to be again alone. And, you know, in that moment I thought I was going to be with my friend and he was going to help me and all this stuff. And that's the next episode because it wasn't nothing of what I was thinking. But it was something I needed to live to make the next decisions that I made. And that's when everything just went, here you go, there's your magical results. And you know, if you asked me 4 years ago, where would it be where I would say, like, I'm done? Because I didn't want to talk about all this stuff because I thought, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But now I am here. Yes, yes, I am. I can talk about all my life with so much love and so much compassion and so much understanding. And you know, I'm just starting. I'm just seeing my little tree fruits coming up. I'm just seeing them going, oh my God, you're so cute. But anyways, I wanted to leave this episode. I hope the message again was clear and you know, that everything that I said kind of made sense. What I want to say with all this is that we always think that's massive steps that we have to take, and it's not like that. I think the easiest and one of the things that mostly changed my life was getting up and saying thank you. And it seems so simple. Looking at myself with love. Considering myself a very blessed person because of everything. Because I can see, because I can talk, because I can share with you these. When was the last time you said thank you to your legs for taking you everywhere? Because you can run. Because you can walk. When was the last time you said thank you to your eyes? Because you can see the beautiful things in life. That stage of my life was like, you know, like a daltonic person that can't see all the colors, and somebody gave me glasses to be able to see it. And my reality was just like, oh my God, look how beautiful life is. Look how many colors, look how many shapes, look at all the fucking stuff. So if I could be a little bit of that glasses for you guys to put it on and go, look how beautiful your life is. Look how many blessings you have around you. Understand that God is inside of you, and because of that, He's inside of everyone. So see everybody else with compassion. Everybody that's, you know, testing you and putting you in fucking situations that you're like, what the fuck? Ask yourself, what is that person showing you? Again, the only thing I needed to do was just saying, I'm not going to take this anymore. Today, I'm not going to be doing this. And yes, I could have worked for him for 4 years and have all this stuff, but you're not showing me the respect that I deserve. And how could you if I didn't respect myself? So once I started respecting myself, he wasn't in my life anymore. And that's how it works. We're like, well, they should respect me. Respect yourself. And then they're going to respect you. But if you don't respect yourself, how the fuck is anybody else going to respect you? If you don't love yourself, how the fuck is anybody else gonna love you? Like, how are you gonna be able to love anyone else see you if you don't love yourself? This world works like that. It is what it is, and we're gonna get into a lot of other understandings. We're going to finish up with, I think, another episode or maybe 2 max of what it has been up to date. Then I want to kind of share with you, you know, my process, because I want to be raw and I want to kind of show you that healing is not linear. It doesn't work like that. It is like that, and we just have to embrace it. And again, there's nothing that love and when I talk about God, I talk about that of creation. And if you don't believe it, go and look at a plant. Go and look at a flower and look at the perfection in it. There has to be something. I believe it because I've lived through it. Because I felt it inside of me. Because I can differentiate earth. I can differentiate earth, heaven, and hell in me. And I just choose. I have the option of choosing second to second where I want to do, where I want to be. And that hell part, that human part, that material part, it's always going to be there. You live in earth. It is what it is here. You can't hide it. Your shadow is always going to be with you. You just have to learn how to tame it. I guess tame it, you know, because if I want to go crazy tomorrow, I could go back to cooking. In 1 second, I'll go and I get super drunk. I don't think so. Well, I don't think I could go back to who I was because I'll never be who I was, but because it's impossible because of what I know already. But I have a choice every day. I'm so happy. Thank you for allowing me to share this with you guys, and thank you for taking the time of listening to this whole 10 hours, because every time it's been to an hour, every time I think I want to do it in shorter times, but I guess the new ones are going to be shorter now that I've gotten out all the booty crap. Although this next one, you know, there was a few tests in there and they weren't that beautiful, but it was a progress. I don't see it as like what happened in my past years. So yeah, it's going to get interesting. It's going to get cute. It's going to get, you know, again, real and raw, and I'm going to be talking about things that a lot of people don't want to talk about, and they don't want to take the responsibility. Just letting you know, take the responsibility to change your life. If you want a better life, change it. That's it. It is as simple, as complicated as that. Anyways, I think I've touched everything that I wanted to say. So I kind of wrote it down because there was a lot of stuff that I wanted to say here, but I didn't know how to position it. So I hope it did make sense. And I'll send you a big kiss, and I'll see you next week, because we're going to get to the good part now. Yeah.